Did you know that Bob spelled forwards and backwards is the same? And that there's even Bob a clock on a digital clock twice a day when it is 8:08, because that looks like the word Bob. These are the things that Bob has taught me and others. 20 plus years ago, I was talking to my college roommate when, like in a cartoon, 1 minute she was there and the next she was gone. When I looked down, I saw that my petite roommate had been plowed over by this upperclassman named Bob. This was his way of greeting her and being glad to see her. They were on the swim team together. I was immediately intrigued by this enthusiastic soul, but it took another 2 years before we started dating. Bob is a self-prescribed pessimistic realist who is actually quite optimistic, fun-loving, and good-natured. He is willing to try anything and does it with a smile on his face. Athletically, he excels at downhill skiing and kayaking. It is actually quite beautiful to watch him do those two activities. I know that that's a strange way to describe it, but it's true. The spirit and finesse with which he pursues those two activities is a sight to behold. The rhythm he gets into when carving turns on his telemark skis or paddling down a river is the picture of grace and efficiency wrapped up in speed and a sense of adventure. When he and I were in a tandem kayak on rather choppy water, we made a perfect landing on the shore of an island. 3 people who saw us coming in were running over to us when we arrived. They marveled at our arrival on the beach in the 3 to 5 foot waves. They said they were actually coming over because they assumed we were going to wreck and would need their help. Well, not with Bob in the stern. He actually told me just to hang on tight, so I wasn't helping in any way, and he floated us perfectly in. If you ask him, he may say it was luck, but after seeing so many instances of this kind of luck with him, I know otherwise. He understands his abilities, the terrain, and can successfully put those components together. Now, if you get him on the basketball court or ice skating, it's a different story. The first time I saw him ice skate, I thought he was pretending to be that bad. I thought that because he was so talented in other athletic endeavors, he couldn't possibly be that bad at skating. He wasn't pretending though, and yet there he was out there on the ice trying to play hockey because that was the activity that everyone else was doing. He never complained a bit. There isn't anybody who doesn't like Bob, except for some young children, which is a fascinating yet temporary phenomenon. I'm not sure what it is, perhaps his gregarious nature, but young children will instantly love or hate him. There's no in between. As they grow older, however, he always wins them over, and usually they can't stop talking about him after a visit. At work, he has won many awards and consistently gets superior ratings. He is a people person through and through, which enables him to be very effective in his job as youth program manager and volunteer coordinator for Yellowstone National Park. He always takes the time to work through any situation to the best of his ability. He won't just say it's his way or no way at all. He is also very good at talking to someone face to face rather than just emailing. That seems minor, but it goes a long way toward building trust and a good working relationship, which can bring significant dividends in the end. In all of these efforts, he is very genuine as well. You always feel that he is taking the time because he wants to get to know you better or resolve a situation, not just because he's trying to get something. Bob is also a wonderful father and husband. He is very thoughtful. For example, after my first day at school in the fall of 2012, he brought home balloons. He knows I don't much like flowers, and yet he wanted to acknowledge in some way the major step I was taking by pursuing a Master of Education. That was totally unexpected and much appreciated. He is also very generous and supportive in my activities, such as school. Going back to school at this time has proven to be a financial strain and has made him a single parent on many occasions, as he and our children go off to do something whilst I stay at home to complete homework. He never complains about this, and when I mentioned my desire to go back to school at this time, the only thing he wanted to know was if I had good motives in my desire to do it. He said the finances and other issues would all be worked out, but he wanted to know that I was doing this for the right reasons, like to further my education, rather than just feel like with this degree, the public school where I substitute would owe me a job. This was a great wake-up call for me to check my motives, and it was done in a very loving way. For our children, he has coached teams, faithfully goes to games, and truly enjoys supporting them in all they do to the best of his ability. In fact, I started writing this speech when he and our son were in Guatemala on a youth service trip caring for animals in a shelter. Not only does he give to our family, but to the world through his acts of kindness. He is the kind of person you just have to spend a few minutes with to get a sense of his kind nature. I feel very fortunate to have him as my life partner and life love. One of Bob's favorite sayings is, patience, flexibility, and a sense of humor will get you through anything. Those truly are words to live by, which he does, and for that I am forever grateful. For all of these reasons, and many more, Bob inspires me to try to be my best, and I want to acknowledge him for that. So he didn't know this speech was going to be about him, but if you'll come up, Bob, you have to come up. This is Bob, and he inspires me just by being who he is, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.